Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here with Brother Bro, and it's time for the Critics' Choice predictions. As we said in our BAFTA predictions video, they're on the same day as the BAFTAs. So these are going to look pretty similar, probably. But there's going to be some key differences, I'm sure. Best Picture. What are you thinking, buddy?
I think it's Power of the Dog.
Really? It's kind of interesting. You know, I was thinking about predicting Power of the Dog myself. The Critics' Sweeper. The critics' favorite movie of the year. I would have said it maxed out nominations here, but the Oscars proved that, in fact, there were more nominations to be given. Yeah, I don't know what the runner-up would be, honestly. Like, I don't think it's going to be Belfast, even though they did nominate that a lot.
Is it even worth speculating? Is it even worth saying, but Belfast, duh?
I guess, you know, maybe it was just never even going to be close to winning. Maybe it was just happy to be nominated.
I think it's kind of close. Like, I think it's still top three if Power of the Dog weren't here.
And Best Director, you know, that's going to be Jane Campion for sure. We all know that.
Yep, next.
Best Actor.
I'm going to say Will Smith here.
I am also going to say Will Smith here.
The Critics' Choice aren't even that criticky. Like, they try to predict the Oscars, it seems, and they like to go with who's trending and who's surging, and generally Critics' Choice with nominations and wins. We're kind of unsurprised at what they do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Will Smith too. I mean, you would think, you know, the Critics' Sweeper Benedict Cumberbatch would have a shot here, but as you're saying, as you're correctly stating, the Critics' Choice are just more likely to align themselves with whoever's the frontrunner for the Oscar.
Look at those nominations. Did they really go with what they thought was the best of the year, or did they vote for what they think had a good shot to be nominated? I still don't forgive them for not nominating Ruth Negga. Like, you're supposed to do that at the very least. Stuff like Nicolas Cage and Pig is why they exist, and they did do that.
Best Actress. You know, as much as we like to say that they try to get behind who's out front, you know, last year they were the only ones to give it to Carey Mulligan, but it still felt like Carey Mulligan was out front in like a way. And this year, who feels like they're out front? I don't really know. I mean, people thought that, oh, Kidman must be out front because she won the Golden Globe. And
I think people still don't think there's an actress out front, even though I think it's Chastain at this point. But I think the Critics' Choice are going to actually go with possibly Kristen Stewart. This might be the place that she wins. I mean, she was unanimously the Critics' Sweeper for awards. If she didn't get snubbed at the SAGs, they would absolutely be giving her the award because there wouldn't be a question in their minds as to like who's the frontrunner. Everyone would still be thinking it's Kristen Stewart.
I think they might be interested in like the comeback narrative, in the underdog story of Kristen Stewart after the SAG snub.
I'm going back and forth between calling them critics and people who want to be the Oscars, and I know I'm flopping and flipping and like a fish on a boat. What's the argument here?
I think they're just somewhere in between. That's all it is. Like, they're not entirely like critics. They're not entirely like, you know, the Oscars, but we have to find that middle ground. I mean, they did give First Reformed Screenplay.
Critics' Choice, the only people to go with any nominations besides actress.
Yeah, but they snubbed it for costume, so they clearly also didn't like it that much.
Yeah, so even them.
It's not guaranteed. I think they could go with Chastain. I think they saw the SAGs win before voting, which is very important. I don't
think they would go with Nicole Kidman. I just think that's kind of weird.
I don't think so. I think that was a goal. I think that was revealed and unmasked as a Golden Globes thing. I think that's all it was. Could Olivia Colman win? I just don't think that's actually happening. I know there are a lot of people who still have faith in Olivia Colman. I just don't really understand.
I just don't see the push for that performance and that film as the best actress winner.
People did this with her in The Father too. They need to realize that every time Olivia Colman gets nominated, they're going to say that she's going to win. I mean, eventually she might win, but...
Oh, I think she'll win again.
All right, supporting actor. I think Troy Kotsur. You know, once again, the Critics' Sweeper is really Cody Smith-McPhee, but I think that with the momentum seeming like it's in Kotsur's favor, a lot of critics can get behind that.
I definitely think it will be Troy Kotsur, actually. They might love Power of the Dog, but I guess I'm just not going to predict them to give it any acting awards, which is a little weird, but I really do feel like Troy Kotsur is going to hit maybe everywhere except for like BAFTA or everywhere, period. He has everything going in his favor. Like, he's really surfing that wave. I think Cody hit it a little bit early and it kind of died down.
I think it's interesting that they're so late in the year this year. I think if they happened like right around the time of the Golden Globes, they would have given it to Cody Smith-McPhee probably. I think they're that susceptible to like the wave of hype.
Yeah.
Supporting actress Ariana DeBose. Goodbye.
Have a safe trip. Text me when you land. Don't forget the snack I packed you.
And remember, if the plane starts crashing, you got to put the oxygen mask on the child next to you. Even if it's not your child.
Or if there is no child next to you, find the nearest child and put your body over them to protect them from any fire or rubble.
Young actor, actress. This is an interesting one. What do you think here? I mean, I could see Jude Hill hopping away with this one.
Do they like, give it to the youngest person who gave a good performance? Do they give it to the person who was closest to a nomination? In that case, could be Amelia Jones.
Alan Kim, Roman Griffin Davis, Elsie Fisher, Brooklyn Prince,
Tiny,
Lucas Hedges.
tiny.
Lucas Hedges is not tiny.
They gave it to Alan Kim when they could have given it to Talia Ryder.
Or Helena Zengel, who was nominated. I think it's between Rachel Zegler and Jude Hill.
I feel like Amelia Jones and Coda would beat out Rachel Zegler. That was more of a breakout performance to me.
Like, let's be honest, Rachel Zegler was probably closer to a nomination here than Jude Hill or anybody else. Probably.
Not Amelia Jones.
I would say yeah.
I would say no. I would say nay.
At the time, we weren't even considering Amelia Jones, buddy, and Rachel Zegler was number 7 for us.
That's because no one knew what was happening with her. I'm just gonna go with Amelia Jones because I don't really know what else to do, and that's who I would vote for.
You wouldn't vote for Woody Norman?
I would vote no. I would still vote for Amelia Jones here.
I would vote for Woody Norman. That's not your favorite though, Woody Norman. And come on.
I don't know
what he did.
I was watching clips from Coda, and I've been swayed a little bit. Amelia Jones is really good in that movie.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm going to go with Rachel Zegler. I just feel like people are very impressed with her and are very into her being a rising star.
I don't really care who wins because everybody's so good. Sanaya Sidney also, I would love if she won.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good category. It's actually pretty freaking stacked. Best Ensemble. Interesting to note that Coda's not even here. And the critics' choice is very different with their ensemble category than, say, the SAG. They did go with Chicago 7, but let's read the other winners if they don't. The Fighter, The Help, Silver Linings Playbook, American Hustle, Birdman, Spotlight, Moonlight, 3 Billboards, The Favorite, The Irishman.
These are all movies that got like a few acting nominations. In fact, all of them have multiple acting nominations. Actually, Trial of Chicago 7 only got 1 acting nomination, so that's sort of an exception.
I feel like it's between Belfast, Don't Look Up, and West Side Story. That's my opinion. If Don't Look Up weren't so divisive, I might lean towards that, but I just think it's too divisive. I think Belfast, as boring as it sounds and as much as it didn't have like that kind of momentum people thought it might with SAG.
I might have to say Power of the Dog based on what I just looked at.
Yeah, but there's only 4 performances in the movie. Remember, Belfast has 3 acting nominations.
Yeah, I'll go with Belfast here, I suppose. I think it could be West Side Story or Power of the Dog, though.
Original Screenplay. Once again, probably Belfast versus Licorice Pizza here.
I think it's going to be Licorice Pizza.
I think it's going to be Licorice Pizza too.
I think they're going to want to start the PTA choo-choo train.
Well, the critics' choice, I mean, they like to instruct the Oscars, don't they? And wouldn't they like to instruct this?
I agree.
Adapted screenplay. Power of the Dog. It's going to happen. That's what it's going to be. Nomadland won here, and it didn't even win the Oscar.
Yeah, even if Coda has a small shot at screenplay, I think Power of the Dog's going to win here.
I don't really think Coda has a shot for screenplay, to be quite honest, buddy. Like, why? Why would you vote for Coda for screenplay? Like, why?
Because it's just the right amount of corniness.
But the good thing about Coda is that it makes you cry, and what makes you cry, those performances. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'll say this: I cried more in Coda than Power of the Dog. Does that make it a better movie? That's up to me.
Cinematography. I think we could see something like Macbeth. Or even maybe West Side Story or The Power of the Dog win here. But ultimately, I think this might be Greg Fraser's year.
These critics, I feel like they're on Twitter. And West Side Story cinematography Twitter has been rattling off these past couple weeks. I mean, I don't know if it's some kind of secret underground campaign. I would like to see an upset here a little bit. I feel like we have so many good options for cinematography that why do we need Dune to sweep everywhere?
The Power of the Dog and Dune were winning the most awards with critics.
I will go with Dune and play it safe, because I do think that would be playing it safe. Again, like if there's a challenger, I don't even know who it is. So I may as well say Dune.
Also, I really do think that the Batman coming out is helping Greg Fraser, because he's really having a moment now. Best editing, I think, will also be Dune. I really think like editing's just gonna go to Dune at the end of the day.
For having the most editing, yeah.
Well, it didn't even have like the fastest editing.
Doesn't matter. It had the most editing.
Yeah, sure. And it also had the most sound, which correlates with the most editing. Costume design, Cruella.
Yeah, Cruella. I don't see why not.
I don't even see much of a competition here, honestly. Production design, Nightmare Alley is what I'm going with.
I will also go with Nightmare Alley.
I do think they could go with Dune, but I am feeling that Nightmare Alley is going to be pretty strong for the Oscar here. And if it's strong anywhere, I mean, it's got to be at the Critics' Choice where it's nominated in like every category imaginable.
I predict they throw Nightmare Alley a single bone and that it will be this.
Best score. I think everyone once again is going to get behind Dune.
I could maybe see them doing a Greenwood score though. Like I could maybe see them doing Greenwood's Power of the Dog.
Does it hurt him that he's double nominated here though?
No.
And that both his scores are really good?
Because no one would ever vote for Spencer because they know it has no chance of winning.
Best song. I'm not going to bet against No Time to Die anywhere. That just keeps winning. Hair and makeup. You know, we talked a lot about this in our BAFTA video, and we were very conflicted on the category. But
it's a wild category.
The Critics' Choice fall more in line with the Oscars here than the BAFTAs do. I really don't get people like saying Dune's going to win makeup. Like, I've never thought that. I just don't get it. Like, Stellan Skarsgård has lumps, like, okay. But House of Gucci, Jared Leto has the full, you know, Gary Oldman Darkest Hour, John Lithgow bombshell thing going on in his face. I mean, that's hard to bet against. And then, you know, Tammy Faye, boop, 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 kind of surging after the Chastain win. We could see a nice pairing of awards here, just like Meryl Streep with The Iron Lady, winning both of its nominations, you know, lead actress and makeup. I think Tammy Faye's going to win here.
Yeah, I'll go with Tammy Faye also. I wouldn't be shocked if they went with Dune, but I wouldn't predict that for the Oscar if that happened. Maybe they're just lay people and they're like, yeah, Dune for all the technicals.
I still think House of Gucci is the runner-up. Like, I don't know why its betting odds are, like, ridiculously low. I might even have to hop on that. Those look a little juicy to me. Best visual effects is Dune.
Next.
Best animated feature. This could be Mitchell's, maybe. That was sweeping Critics Awards more than Encanto was, but Encanto had a late surge moment along with the rise of We Need to Talk About Bruno. That wasn't even happening really when Mitchell's was sweeping those awards. Now the Critics' Choice do fall in line with the Oscars a lot. They gave it to Toy Story 4. They go with Disney a lot. They don't really diverge from it like the BAFTA sometimes do, where they'll go with like Klaus, or like the Annie's going with How to Train Your Dragon or something. They go with Disney a lot. And I think Encanto might sweep. Like, as much as I would want to see Flea or Mitchell's be a challenger, I think we just might be in for an Encanto sweep.
Yeah, I really think Flea wouldn't win here, and it would be Encanto's or Mitchell's. Like, Mitchell's might be the runner-up.
It's not weird that Flea wouldn't win here. Flea is not even competitive for the win anywhere.
Well, I predicted it for the BAFTA.
Yeah, I told you that's just not going to be right, man.
But given that it's critics, I would imagine Flea should have somewhat of competition.
And yet,
but these aren't real critics. Apparently.
And yet Mitchell's is winning all the critics awards.
Yes, that's why I'm thinking maybe Mitchell's. I'll go with Encanto.
Best comedy. Really worth noting before we go, oh, licorice pizza, because before we do that, you need to hold your fucking socks, okay? Let's go through what else won. Dolomite Is My Name beat Jojo Rabbit and The Farewell and Knives Out and Booksmart. Crazy Rich Asians beat The Favorite. The Big Sick beat I, Tonya and Lady Bird. Bridesmaids beat Midnight in Paris. So you get what I'm saying here? They go for comedies.
Which makes sense. They don't just want this category to be like a surrogate best picture for whatever movie is the most nominated outside of this category. They want it to be to the best comedy.
When we're looking at like what's the comedy, I mean, Barb and Star and Don't Look Up are probably the most like, and Free Guy, I guess, but I don't think Free Guy's gonna
Free Guy, no.
As far as straight up comedies go.
Licorice Pizza though was more of a straight up comedy than we expected it to be.
Yeah, I still think it could be Licorice Pizza just because I don't really know if anything else sticks out that strong as like that other pick that they go for.
I could see them giving it to Barb and Star.
Yeah, I would not rule that out, actually. I would not rule that out.
Because that's 100% a comedy.
Don't Look Up, I mean, is a pretty straightforward comedy and it is nominated for Best Picture, but I don't know. Like, I just don't know if that's going to get all the votes to win.
Yeah.
Because it is a divisive movie, even though there's enough people on its side to get it nominated for stuff. It hasn't been winning stuff because it's just too divisive. I'm just gonna say Licorice Pizza, honestly. I just feel like that may have the best shot after all.
All right, I'm gonna be really fucking weird and say Barb and Star.
I don't think it's that ridiculous to predict. Because this category is...
They might be like, ha, that movie definitely made me laugh. Let's see if we can throw that something.
I think that they would go like, oh, I liked that movie. Like, we haven't been talking about that. Let's throw that a bone. Check. Best foreign film, Drive My Car. Drive.
Goodbye.
My car.
We're done.
And those are our Critics' Choice predictions. We are going to go live during the Critics' Choice Awards, so stay tuned.
We'll be talking about the BAFTAs in the break of the Critics' Choice. All of them will be edited reactions as well.
Live stream's going to be like you're there with us. It's going to be like me, brother, bro, and then you're just going to be sitting in your room staring at us with a bucket of popcorn, and we're just going to be making eye contact, and I'm going to be eating popcorn too.
It's really nothing like this experience you're having now. You can literally speak at your computer and I will talk back to you. If you scream at me, I'll make the same noise as you. I will mirror you. And if you go like this and you like flick me, I'll go, ouch!
It's going to be one of the most interactive live streams of all time. We're actually working with interactive labs to make that happen. We're paying tens of thousands of dollars to make this a very uniquely developed experience.
Very immersive, definitely the future of new media.
We're not using a pre-existing software. We're building this thing from the ground up in order to have the most immersive experience you've ever had in your fucking life. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing.
Which category makes you say, hooray?